for ceremonies tonight, and I guess I'm not bad and I work for nothing, so that means I'm good for nothing. My job tonight is to move the program along, and we promise we'll do that. This is a night when we renew some old friendships and maybe make a few new ones. We're honoring some wonderful people, some athletes, some fans, some coaches, just a terrific group of folks. And we're very, very proud to honor them. You know, I met a couple out in the cocktail area, and I'm not going to mention this gentleman's name, but he's a quite elderly Hall of Fame inductee. And he was telling me, he said, that I asked him how he was feeling, and he said, you know, he said, I'm at peace with the world, and the good Lord is taking care of me. So when I get up and I need to use the bathroom, the good Lord lights my way. I do what I have to do, the light goes off, and I go back to bed. And I said to his wife, isn't that wonderful, he's so in touch with the Lord? And she said, oh no, he's peeing in the refrigerator again. Now we'd like to introduce, to sing our national anthem, 1993 Branford Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Tony Cardasano. Will everyone please rise and remain standing for the invocation.
Please join in the singing of the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Now let's welcome Reverend Bill Keene, Senior Minister at the First Baptist Church, for our invocation. Before we pray, let us pause for a moment of silence in memory of the victims of the terror attacks in Paris, France. Please pause with me. Let us pray. We assemble here, Lord, this evening, honoring internal character as much as exterior performance, for time and again, what we see in the arena or on the field is what has been faithfully nurtured in the heart and soul. So we gather in recognition of the sterling example strongly set by those put forth as our best and brightest tonight. Victor V. Amatori Jr., David Bowman, Dan Kuchma, Eva Esposito, Ray Falkoff, Paula Rembach Miller, Erica L. Newell, Alex and Jay Paluzzi, David Brennan, Larry Vieira, and collectively the 1988-89 state champion Branford High School field hockey teams. Bless our honorees, for they have entertained, enthralled, and inspired so many others to dig deep and reach for the excellence that must be earned before it can be received. May each one realize that they are being applauded for who they are, and not simply for what they've done. For the parents, the coaches, the teachers, and mentors, whose loving dedication and expertise have found the fullest expression in these grand individuals, may the intrinsic blessing that comes from giving to others be even more vibrant in themselves. Lord God, consecrate our assembly, the food we're about to receive, and the fellowship for which we are and will be eternally grateful. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend King. Tonight our program will move right along. We will induct a few members into the Hall of Fame before dinner. Do we have quiet, please? Do we have quiet, please? We're going to induct a few members before dinner, and the rest of the inductees, as well as the team inductees, after dinner. But first, I'd like to take a moment to mention the members of the Hall of Fame that we lost this year. First off, 1999 inductee Willie Proto, who passed away in July of 2014, but we were not aware of his passing until after last year's dinner. And this year, 1991 inductee Howie Johnson, who passed away on March 4th. 1991 inductee Ray Orsini, who passed away on March 26th. 2002 inductee Ron Tramontano, passed away on April 12th. 2000 inductee Jerry Clyde, whom we lost on April 25th. 2008 inductee Paul Lipkovich, who died on July 1st. And 1995 inductee Jim Murphy, who passed on August 27th. All of these gentlemen were proud members of the Branford Sports Hall of Fame. We were so lucky to recognize them and to share in their excitement. May they rest in peace. And now, for comments, our recently re-elected first selectman. Let's welcome Jamie Cosgrove.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sports Hall of Famers, it is an honor to welcome all of you here tonight to the 28th Annual Sports Hall of Fame dinner. Tonight, we celebrate the induction of 11 new members who have each made outstanding contributions to sports in the town of Branford. On behalf of the town, I congratulate tonight's inductees on their achievements and thank them for their honor and distinction they bring to Branford. Last year, I don't know how many of you were here, but DJ King was one of the inductees and gave a tremendous speech. The next morning, I'm driving my 10-year-old to ballet, and I'm telling her about the speech he gave and the message it was. You know, he was talking about basically what it boiled down to, what makes everybody in this room, what they have in common is 24 hours in a day. What makes them different is what they do with that 24 hours. As I explained this to my daughter as we drove her into New Haven, she sat there intently listening and we discussed it. It was, I know, Dad, I understand what it means. No, she listened and she actually, before I dropped her off, she said, you know, for my class assignment, I'm going to share that with my class. So you truly do, each inductee here does make a contribution on the field and even off the field. I told DJ King that story after. He said he would write my speeches from now on. But as my daughter got out, it was a blustery Saturday morning, November, and she ran down the street and I yelled to her. I jumped out of the car. She ran ahead. She was running into her ballet class. I said, "Be like the Kinger." She was a little bit embarrassed. I would like to also recognize and thank the Branford Sports Hall of Fame Committee for organizing this annual event every year. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. ask them to please stand and remain standing. From the class of 1992, Tom Murray. From the class of 1993, Tony Cardasano. From 94, Kathy McGurk. From 95, John O'Connor. From 1998, Wayne Sokolowski. From 1999, Ted Kaczynski and Tootsie Amendola-Lasky. From 2002, Dodie Blackstone Cristolo, Rusty Gordon, and Dennis Swirsky. For the class of 2003, Bill Fatico, Vin Giordano, and George Miles. From 2004, Andrea Amendola Kenny, Donnie Lawrence. From 2005, Jim Bell. From 2006, Chief Robert Gill. 2007, Jake Paluzzi and Heidi Papusha. From 2008, Rich Bondo Biondi, Jim Foyne, and Sue Lexa. From 2009, Kirsten Newell. From 2010, Bill Providi. The class of 2011, John McGurk and Chuck Tiernan. From 2012, Robin McCall Axtell, Gene Kelly, John Kessler Jr., and Bill O'Brien. From 2013, Dr. Catherine P. Andrio, Alex Paluzzi Jr., and Reuben Taylor. And from 2014, B.J. King II. Let's give him a big round of applause. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to begin the induction part of our program. They say this man needs no introduction, so I'm tempted not to give him one. But he is the only chairman of the Branford Sports Hall of Fame, the only chairman we've ever had. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he is not only Branford, but Greater New Haven's #1 citizen. He's a fundraiser, he's an organizer, and he's a gentleman. And I'd like to introduce my friend, Bill O'Brien.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here tonight, and we'd appreciate it if you would continue your silence for a few more minutes while we get through this part of the program. I want to thank you again. I'd like to thank Paul Cristola for serving as our Master of Ceremonies, Tony Cardasano for the great job at the National Anthem, the Reverend King, and Selectman Cosgrove. Welcome you to the 28th Annual Branford Sports Hall of Fame dinner. Can't believe we've been doing this for 28 years. I don't have everybody's attention. You see, I draw the short straw. I draw the short straw to get up here and have to say this. We have a big meeting every year talking about noise control. I know you guys want to talk to each other. I know many of you haven't seen each other in a long time. But we are going to honor two people before we eat. So we really would appreciate just bearing with us while we go through this and get your attention so that we can get through the program at a reasonable time and get to the eel pot. For those of you who don't know what the eel pot is, see me later. Thank you. By the way, we have a record crowd tonight. Just the past 5 years alone, up until tonight, we had 1,800 people come to this dinner, which is an average of 360 people attending the dinner. This year, we have a record of 440 people. Give yourself a round of applause. By the way, our goal is to finish by 9:30. You with me? Our goal is to finish by 9:30. We are having a second seating at 10 o'clock, so we have more people that want to come. We have several people in the audience tonight that I wanted to just congratulate for being here. One of them is a good friend, a good sports fan. He's here primarily because of Larry Vieira. But Coach George DeMayo, friend of a lot of people in the sports world, got inducted into the Connecticut High School Coaches Association Hall of Fame last night. And George, I don't know if you're in the area. Nice round of applause for George. And George has a Saturday morning show on WELI, and he'll mention me if I do mention him. So, I also want to say we have a celebrity in our audience tonight who's going to get mad at me for saying this. I'm losing you. I'd like to give a nice warm welcome to the former inductee who's here tonight, made a real mark in his life, Jimmy Bell from Branford, who's now the executive producer of the NBC Olympic Games this summer in Rio de Janeiro. This dinner started back in 1987 when Alex Peruzzi and I were out on a bike ride. And I asked Alex why Branford, with its rich sports history, did not have a sports hall of fame. And from that bike ride, all those years ago, we now have had 27 dinners, this being our 28th. And we've honored 265 individuals for induction into the Hall of Fame for being excellent athletes and for either through sports or life after sports, bringing honor and distinction to the town of Branford. So we're very pleased that we have another 11 tonight, along with the 2 state field hockey champions from 1988 and 89. Congratulations, ladies, for your honor. I hope the honorees find it to be a special night as well for themselves and their families and friends. As I look at the class that we have tonight, we're honoring and impressed with what they have done with their lives while in high school, college, or later in life. Some have traveled here to receive their honor long distances. El Canoe comes to us from Florida. David Redden comes down from Vermont. Danny Kushba comes from his company headquarters in Palo Alto, California today. And some of the members of the field hockey teams have traveled to get here as well. To see Meglio from Massachusetts, Heidi Paprusha from New Hampshire, Ginger Smith-Morrow from Massachusetts, and Jennifer Lee Hazel Grove all the way from Virginia. I'm always impressed that so many come back year after year as well after they've been honored for this special evening. I think Paul introduced 38 former recipients that are here tonight. And this happens every year, and we're thrilled to have you back. All tonight's honorees have been involved in many different sports activities like swimming, hockey, volleyball, field hockey, track and field, soccer, football, baseball, and basketball. As players, coaches, organizers, journalists, and fans. And they've all had great careers. Each year we honor outstanding championship teams like the girls tonight. Looks like we have a pretty good night tonight. I hope you could agree with that. And as I mentioned before, if we can keep the noise under control for a little while longer, we will all critique the dinner at the Heel Pot by 9:30. By the way, if anybody in the room would like to nominate someone for a Hall of Fame, please go to our website, www.BranfordSportsHallOfFame.com, They look over the selection process and nomination form. We'd love to have more names for our list. We have a big list already, but we'd like to have more names. The 1994-95 academic year, Branford joined the newly formed Southern Connecticut Conference, having formerly competed in the old Housatonic League. And for that 20-year period of time, plus, they have won a number of state titles. They've won 22 state championships, high school teams, in 10 different sports, including girls swimming, boys swimming, field hockey, boys lacrosse, football, boys outdoor track, baseball, cheerleading, which is now a varsity sport, girls cross country, and soccer. But I think it's safe to say that we'll have more championship teams to honor in years to come. Our agenda each year is to hold an event that brings the community out to recognize individuals who participated in sports. It's important that they don't have to score the most points or touchdowns. Many have. They don't have to have had the highest average or be the fastest, although many have. They don't have to be all conference, all state, or all American, although many have received that honor as well, including several this evening. And they don't have to attend Branford High School to be eligible, although most have. Ours is a town hall of fame and not just a high school hall of fame. We only ask that they participate in sports as they can choose. Tonight we have another great group, and I'm excited about sharing a summary of their contributions with you as the night goes on. First, we have a special recognition that we are going to give out to start the program off. When our Hall of Fame first started in 1988, we talked about ways to help cover our expenses. Naturally, ticket sales were at the top of the list. Another way was to have an ad book. We decided against an ad book and instead opted to seek sponsorships, offering a listing in the program book, an announcement at the night of the dinner, and a ticket to the dinner. We solicited local businesses, individuals, banks, attorneys, and organizations that identified with our Hall of Fame goals. That first year, in 1988, we had 14 sponsors. The second year, we increased to 17. One of those sponsors was the S.J. Clancy family. That was the beginning of a 27-year association, and now the W.S. Clancy Memorial Funeral Home has been a sponsor for 26 consecutive years. It is our pleasure to recognize members of the Carmen family for their untiring support of the Branford Sports Hall of Fame. Please welcome Stuart Carmen and his sons Jeff and John to this presentation.
Been born and raised and grown up and continue to work our careers in a town such as Branford. And we feel very fortunate that we've been able to support the Hall of Fame. We'd like to give our congratulations to all Hall of Famers here, past and present. Congratulations to you all. It's been our privilege to support the Hall of Fame these past 27 years. Congratulations to all the men and women and the teams. Thank you.
Special families helped us out for all those years. We appreciate that support. Now we're going to begin our induction ceremony. We have two before dinner. It never ceases to amaze our committee when we receive detailed information on some of our Hall of Fame nominees. Our first recipient this evening is a shining example of another outstanding candidate that has been brought to our attention. Erica Newell was an outstanding student athlete while at Branford High School, as well as after she graduated in 2001. For starters, she was captain of her swim team, indoor and outdoor track team, was a high honor student, and section leader in the high school chorus. Rumor had it Erica on occasion competed in both swimming and track on the same day and sang in the choir that night. Yes. A summary of her swimming days at Branford for Hall of Fame coach John O'Connor indicated she led the team to 3 state championships, swimming championships. She was All-State all 4 years, became a record holder in 3 individual events, set the Class M state record in the 100 backstroke, and was the most valuable swimmer in the Class M state meet. Oh, and by the way, she was designated as an All-American during her senior year in the 100 backstroke as well. She attended North Carolina State on a swimming scholarship, where as a freshman she was named most valuable swimmer and set a school record in the 100 back. Wanting to be closer to home, Erica transferred to Fordham, where her success continued. 1 year, she set school records in the 100 and 200 back. She was selected Atlantic 10 Swimmer of the Week 7 times and ECAC Swimmer of the Week twice. Erica was the first Fordham swimmer in history to win 2 events in the Atlantic 10 Championships. She held 5 individual school records and was a member of 2 record-setting relays. Erica was chosen MVP her senior year and Fordham's Female Athlete of the Year in all sports. She graduated in 2005 and was later inducted into Fordham Sports Hall of Fame in 2012. Now, how do you follow up with that? Well, in Erica's case, she joined the U.S. Army and became part of the 402nd Military Intelligence Battalion at Fort Gordon, Georgia. She achieved the rank of sergeant and during her 5 years of service was deployed to Afghanistan and Kuwait, where she set out on multiple missions as interrogator in human intelligence collector. After receiving an honorable discharge from the Army, Erica entered a 2-year program in exotic animal training and management program in California. She is certified as a scuba diver and has worked at the Gulf World Marine Park in Panama City, Florida. She trains bottlenose dolphins on husbandry behaviors. She works with animals in and out of water and announces the show before crowds of upwards of 1,500 people. As you have heard, Erica has been all over the world making us proud, and tonight she's back with us to join her sister Kirsten with an induction into the Branford Sports Hall of Fame. Please welcome home Erica Newell.
Thank you very much for letting me go first. I'm pretty excited because I'm pretty sure I may have the oldest guest here. I'm first, so my grandfather can get home. He's 96 years old. He's here tonight. Thank you very much. It is to the committee. It is a big honor to be amongst so many incredible athletes, and it's a privilege to be amongst everybody here tonight. I am very fortunate to have so many people who have supported me over the years, from mentoring me, pushing me, coaching me, and having a lot of patience with me. Patience is the operative word in that. Any one of my coaches will tell you you need a lot of that coaching. Coaches George, Kevin, John, Al, and Sue can attest that in order to coach me, you need to calm and just breathe. Because I do a lot of stuff and I do it hard. I was a very determined athlete And I was fortunate to have all the coaches be beside me and support me. And they allowed me to demand excellence, not only from myself, but from them as well. And together we were able to achieve every goal that we wanted to. Through all of my tantrums, my craziness, my arguments, my antics, and the storming off deck on more than one occasion, I want to say thank you to my very, very patient coaches out there. You guys are the best. I would be remiss if I did not mention my most important coaches in the room, and that would be my family. After all, they were my first coaches in life, in school, sports, the military, and every venture I've had since then. My sister, Kirsten Newell, she is also an inductee. She is the one that I looked up to, and I wanted to be just like her ever since I was a little girl. Now let's be honest, after trying out for Stingrays at 8 years old, George Miles can tell you himself, he told my mom I would not have made the team if it were not for Kirsten's talents. So thank you, Kirsten, for being awesome. If it weren't for you, I probably would not be here today. And my parents. My father, who would have advice for me for any obstacle I took on, even if he had no clue what he was talking about, he had 2 cents for everything that I ever had to say. I remember him from very early age always giving me instruction on what to do. Even from teaching me how to do the broad jump at short beach days. Swing your arms, Erica, swing your arms. Early on, he always had something to say, and I was very glad for it. I'm very lucky because my father works a full-time job. He runs his own business and still found time to come to all of my meets, usually just from a job and almost always still in his work uniform. But how lucky can a girl be to have her father at almost every single meet, no matter swimming or track. And I'm very privileged to have you. Thanks, Dad. And of course, my mother. By far the woman who has probably dealt with me more than anybody else in my life, and she is a godsend for that. Because if you know me, I want to do a million things at once, and somehow she kept up with all of it. From the hours and hours spent in the car back and forth from Wesleyan, from all the swim meets that were weekend long, she'd be in the car listening to me talk about everything, and I had a lot to say. She listened to every set that I ever did in swimming, every time that I made, and every practice that I did, absolutely ever. She listened to all of it. She gave a listening ear and sound advice through all of my highs and my lows. She motivated me through all of my failures, and she was by far the most proud of anybody of any of my successes. Everyone here tonight has had great coaches in their life, but I am really fortunate because I have had great coaches throughout my entire life. So tonight, I would like to say thank you to all of my coaches, and especially my family. If it weren't for you guys, I would not be as successful as I am today. So I want to thank all of you, and let's enjoy the night.
Okay, one more induction before dinner. Over the 28 years of the Sports Hall of Fame, we've only honored a team of 2 people twice. In 2006, we recognized the father-son team of Ken and Rich Priest. Ken faithfully took his handicapped son, Rich, to many Branford High School games over the years of all sports. In 2012, we recognized Gene and Jack Kelly, Dr. Jack Kelly, an inspirational couple that became involved in raising funds for the Milan Project through their annual Hammonasset Triathlon here in town in the name of their son Brian. Tonight we recognize a couple that have been, for over 50 years, have been supporters of many Branford youth teams that their 4 athletic sons played on, the local high school teams, and most recently their grandchildren's games. Jay and Alex Paluzzi are considered the consummate parents, grandparents, and old-fashioned loyal sports fans in the town of Branford. Their 4 sons, Alex, Jake, Michael, and Tony, were all outstanding athletes at various times at Branford and later in college. Their 2 oldest, Alex and Jake, have been previously inducted into the Hall of Fame. Alex and Jay were no slouches themselves in the sports world. Early on, Jay's dad took the family to Brazil, where Jay graduated from St. Paulo's grading school. She later returned to the U.S., where she attended New Haven State Teachers College, earning a bachelor's degree. Later, she earned her master's degree and 6-year degree in English as a second language and special education at Southern Connecticut State College, now Southern Connecticut State University. Her favorite sports in college included tennis, basketball, volleyball, field hockey, and swimming. She played them all. A major milestone, believe it or not now, Jay played when she was playing undefeated basketball team at New Haven State Teachers College. Was a victory over UConn in 1954. Not the same UConn we know today, I think, right? Jay taught for over 37 years. She was at Branford Intermediate School when it first opened in 1971, then at Branford High School, and retired in 2005 from the elementary schools. She was a pioneer in English as a second language, with focus on preparing students in reading. Alex Sr. came from Italian immigrants who settled in North Branford. His parents surrounded him with 4 sisters. He graduated from North Branford High School in 1946, and like his father before him, went to work at Tocon Tommaso, retiring in 1990 as foreman of the asphalt division. From 1951 to 54, Al served in the Korean War as a medical aid and chaplain assistant, receiving rank of sergeant. He earned 3 battle stars while in active duty. He played baseball in the Army and later in Sandlot baseball for the well-known Branford Townies. For over 36 years, Alex has been an active member of the Branford Lions Club, serving on many committees and on the Lions Club board. His work with his International Service Club led to his earning the Melvin Jones Fellowship Award for the Branford Club and the Humanitarian Service Award for the Connecticut Lions Club. For over a decade, he coached his 4 sons, along with his friend Buggy Karate, on the Atlantic Wire baseball and basketball teams in town, and assisted, and later in college. And later assisted on the St. Mary's Grammar School undefeated basketball team that won the New England Championship in the early 70s. As I mentioned before, it's a known fact that the Paloozies have been attending their sons and now their grandchildren's games for over 50 years. Anytime there's a Paloozie playing, coaching, or organizing a sport, Jay and Alex are there. Jay with a notepad in hand, ready to make a note of a record or a hit, basket or a touchdown. I tried to figure out approximately how many games they might have attended over 50 years. Just 50 years I just mentioned. Best I could do with 4 sons and 10 grandchildren, some of which live out of state. I came up with an estimate of about 2,000 games, not to mention all the other activities they have attended as well. For all the reasons mentioned, it's an honor to induct Jay and Alex Paloozi this evening into the Branford Sports Hall of Fame.
Special thanks to Chief Bob Perry, who nominated us, and David Andre, who spoke on our behalf. However, it is us, or the lucky recipients of many hours of pleasure watching all of you perform. Congratulations to all of the recipients today who we have known and enjoyed watching. Thanks to the family members here, Lemelys, Hines, Paloozies. Thanks to our many, many friends. Athletics has expanded for us. We now enjoy dancing, singing, and acting. We have a granddaughter starting to coach. I guess we will go on for a while. Again, thanks so much for this honor.
We did get a very nice note from Michael Paloozi, who lives in Chicago, who was unable to attend. I just want to congratulate his parents and Sports Hall of Fame for their selection. And everyone in this venue knows the contribution that both of you have made in the town both in sharing your time and family and hobbies is obviously legendary for the town of Branford. Couldn't think of any other deserving couple that have spent countless hours watching sports in Branford and other venues in Connecticut. Congratulations, Mom and Dad. We will continue our program after dinner. Enjoy your dinner.
Attention, please. Thank you. Now, as Bill mentioned earlier, this dinner and this Sports Hall of Fame would not be possible without our generous sponsors. And I'd like to recognize them right now. The JCA Landscaping, Achieve Athletics, Andrew M. Amendola, Branford Girls Softball, Branford Junior Basketball, Branford Little League, Branford Organization Supporting Swimmers, the Branford Recreation Department, Branford Soccer Club, Branford Youth Football, Branford Youth Lacrosse, Park Asher, Cherry Hill Glass Company, Mr. Daniel Cosgrove, Boland and Luzzy LLC, East River Energy, FB Industries, Friends of Field Hockey, G&G Earth Materials, Greg Robbins and Associates, Giordano Construction Company, the Hornets Nest Deli, Dr. Jack Kelly, Joel Evans Creative Design, King Lobster, Lynch Chop Keefe and Arante, the Meadow Cafe, that is the eel pot, as everyone knows, Boston Insurance, RAB Associates, Sherwood Sports Stuff, Sunrise Building and Remodeling, the Toronto Tire Company, VF McNeil and Company, W.S. Clancy Memorial Funeral Home, and last but not least, Webster Bank. Many of our sponsors are in attendance this evening. The committee would like to thank the sponsors for their generosity in making the Branford Sports Hall of Fame dinner a success. Thank you very much. And now to complete the rest of our inductions, we reintroduce Mr. Bill O'Brien.
Thank all the sponsors too. Folks, before we had 17 sponsors, the second year, Paul read off 35 names, and needless to say, without their support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. By the way, I don't know if you're looking at your watch or not, but Woodland spent 440 people in 55 minutes. I think that deserves a round of applause. Excellent year, President Scott and staff. You're doing a great job. We appreciate it. Just going to take a second to thank our committee. I think most of you know my good friend Alex Paluzzi. He and I started this whole thing back in 1987. He's the vice chairman. Also director of recreation, who secures support from our sponsors and coordinates his rec staff. They do so much for our dinner. Andrea and her board, Penny, I can't say enough about her. Steady, I mean, Andrea and her board, Steady, who's the ticket coordinator. We have, as I say, 444 people tonight. And she knows everything about who wants prime rib and chicken and who wants to sit with who. But we really appreciate that, Andrea. Great job. Tom Murray, our deputy coordinator, organizing the effort to get bios, pictures, information, and how they want their name on the plaque, the mugs, recipients that is in the meeting. And that's not an easy job, getting all that information. Ed Zach, our treasurer, keeps us on our toes. Ed is already critiquing our finances for next year. Good job by Ed. Paul Costello, our master of ceremonies. Good job as usual, Paul. Writing and research individuals, Don Garrity, Rich Bianchi, years. Now we're getting serious again. Need to have your attention, please. Thank you. Good deal. Ready, Vic? Did this for you. Our next inductee is someone that has been an important part of the Branford Sports Hall of Fame history. For 18 years, Victor Amatori was our chief researcher and bio writer. An early look at Victor's background reveals how that important position evolved and the Branford Sports Hall of Fame benefited. During his days at Branford, before graduating in 1986, Victor did everything from being the basketball team's statistician and team manager to being a contributing sports writer for the Hornet Herald and a weekly columnist for the New Haven Register entitled This Is Branford High School, where he contributed stories on such sports as field hockey, boys and girls basketball, football, and baseball. Following Branford, Vic attended Southern Connecticut State University, where he was also a 4-year member of the Sports Information Department under their legendary director, Rick Levy. He maintained statistics for the Owls and wrote press releases for football, baseball, basketball, and soccer, and was a staff reporter for the Southern News. His work at the school paper led to his being presented with their Pucker Award. Victor even... Hello? Hi! Victor even tried his... I thought you were a fan of Victor. A lot of fans here. Victor even tried his hand in radio, a stint on the former WNNR radio station in Hamden, reporting on high school sports, Yale's men's hockey and Fairfield's basketball team. Along with his returning to Branford High School to assist his longtime friend Ron Bernardini in broadcasting Branford girls basketball games on local access television. While still enrolled at Southern, Victor was hired at the community house as the after-school program assistant by director and Hall of Famer inductee Joe Trapasso. Over the years, he handled a wide variety of duties and responsibilities, including summer camp counselor, men's basketball league scorekeeper, adult volleyball league coordinator, and special events assistant, and held that position until his promotion to program supervisor in 2002. His love of covering sports led to his being an media relations assistant for the Connecticut Sun of the Women's National Basketball Association, a football game statistician for the University of Connecticut, as well as a past volunteer football statistician for Springfield College. He's been a member of the media relations staff for 3 NCAA Division I men and women's basketball tournaments hosted by Fairfield University and the University of Connecticut, and 1 NCAA Frozen Four hockey playoff held at Harbor Yard in Bridgeport. Particular note was the 9 years Victor was a volunteer member of the Branford High School baseball team as a statistician and later bench coach under head coach George Dumont. The Hornets won state championship titles 2 times in 2006 and 2009. Victor was recognized by the Branford Elks Lodge with their Distinguished Citizenship Award, and tonight he is being recognized for his over 25 years of loyal service to the youth of the town of Branford and our citizens with his induction into the Branford Sports Hall of Fame. Victor Amatori.
Firstly, I'd like to take this time to welcome everyone to tonight's Hall of Fame dinner. I hope you're enjoying the evening to reminisce with old friends and make acquaintances with new ones. Secondly, I'd like to congratulate my fellow inductees. I'm truly honored, truly humbled to be inducted among such a great group of athletes, coaches, and sports icons as this class of 2015. To the Sports Hall of Fame Committee, and especially Andrea Steady, who nominated me, I want to thank you for this overwhelming honor I never expected to be part of this event in this capacity as an inductee. It was quite a pleasant surprise for me. For someone who hasn't had too much of a problem with writing a story or the biographies of other athletes, trying to compose my thoughts and feelings about this award hasn't been easy. Probably not the best time for a writer to acquire writer's block, so I may have to ask Joe Morelli, the Ribbon Red Shirt, to help me out at this time. But there are too many emotions and too many people to thank in just a short amount of time. It's easy to say that sports have been my #1 passion. Everything that it represents, teamwork, dedication, competition, accomplishment, and for the sports writer, the everyday challenge of creating a story and the ability to find a story within the story. But for me personally, sports took on a different tone altogether. It wasn't about self-recognition, because if you know me, I've never been one to be the headline news or the back page news. It has never been about being the whole part, but rather being part of the whole. At one time or another, I am sure we have all asked ourselves, why do we do what we do? And looking back at my careers, the answer to that question is quite simply, because of you. No matter what road I have traveled on, you have all helped create my identity. You have accepted me, and you've welcomed me into some everlasting fraternities over the years that will never be broken. Branford High School, Southern Connecticut State University, the Branford Rec Department, Branford High School baseball team and its coaching staff, the UConn Football Stats Department, the Connecticut Sun Media Relations. There's so many people who I would like to thank tonight for where I've been, but I hope you all forgive me if I leave you out because of the amount of time that we have. To my first journalism teacher at Branford High School, Roger Reel, for your interest in me and in my writing ability, and for instilling in me the confidence, the courage, and the drive to pursue the challenges associated with writing, and in believing in my ability to do so. Thank you, Coach Reel. To Coach Tom Murray, for the way in which you went about teaching, not only about studies, but about life itself. Your ability to give your students, your players, your team managers like myself a task, and then letting us take that journey to the adventure on our own, and watching it all come together without us ever realizing that it was coming together as planned. To Bill O'Brien, for giving me the opportunity for so many years to be on your Hall of Fame committee and write the biographies on numerous accomplished sports figures. It was not an easy task to come in and take the spot of legendary sports writer Bill O'Hearn. Bill set the bar high, and you allowed me to take the job at hand and run with it. Thanks for your encouragement, your belief in me, but most of all, your longtime friendship. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the person who helped me get started in the field of recreation, Joe Trapasso. To say that Joe T gave me my biggest opportunity in my career is a big understatement. He gave me a career lifeline with the recreation department that I still carry today, 26 years later as a full-time employee. January 15th, 1990 forever changed my life when Joe T hired me to be his full-time recreation employee, while knowing full well that I was attending SCSU to finish my degree in journalism. To my recreation family, Ed Bethke, Joe Chandler, Megan Cunningham, Aaron Emerson, Jeff Kikasicki, Cheryl Onofrio, Nally Sahin, Russ Burrows, Marcel Cody, Monica Sullivan, Andrea Steady, and Dale Izzo. For your support, love, and loyalty over the years, I have been truly blessed and fortunate to have all of you in my life, and for your help along the way. I can't thank you enough. To Jim Tucker Sr. and Alex Bluesy Jr., from our days when I first was a playground leader with Jim and Val's children attending summer camp, to the day I was introduced to Alex when he was then the Assistant Director of Recreation. A friendship, a loyalty, and the support has grown over the years. Thank you for always being my support system and for setting a work ethic for me to follow. Like the rest of our staff, you two have been a valuable part of my family and two who I look up to for guidance always. For 9 years, from the beginning of April through the end of June, my first and last phone calls of the day usually went something like this. Vicar, what's up, bud? The voice on the other end of that phone was that of Branford High School baseball coach and one of my best friends, the late George Dumar. But the nickname Vicar came from three who I call my three little brothers, Nick Dumar, Matt White, and Dylan Paluzzi. George took me onto his staff as a statistician and later considered me his bench coach and part of his staff with Coach Ed Bethke, John Lamone, Coach Mack, Coach Steve Proda, Jared Ciccolini, and route to 2 state championship titles. His belief in me, his friendship, and his loyalty helped me create an identity with the team that I could never envision myself having. To his wife Patty, his sons George and Nick, I want to let you know how much George meant to me as a coach and as a friend. To my family here today, my cousin Fran Hurley from Douglaston, New York, my cousins John, his wife Cheryl, Ann, and Ron Giroli, thank you for being here with me tonight. Your support means the world to me. My Danbury family and friends who have made the trip down I-84 to join in on my induction, my sister-in-law Teresa, my brother-in-law Carlos, my niece Andrea, my good friends Mike and Heidi Pinedo, and Luciana, Richard Roush, and Mr. Roush Sr., Fernanda, and Matt Anton. Thank you for being such an important part of my family. As people know, I don't have any siblings. I was only child. But that's somewhat inaccurate. For you see, 22 Chestnut Street and 62 Chestnut Street were a mere 6 houses apart. 2 kids, both in the same grade, the same age, with their moms already best of friends. It was inevitable that Ron Bernardini and I would become best of friends, and my big brother. From Little League Baseball to bowling, to the high school band, to our sports trip to Florida, and our trip to Denver to watch our Broncos the day before 9/11, you and I have always supported each other. We drove each other to succeed in whatever we took on, and we were there for each other and continue to be there for each other where we need to be picked up. Ron, your support, your friendship, and your brotherhood has been a constant inspiration to me. Thank you. To my Hall of Famer, and the person who takes my breath away, and that's my wife Anna. The love of my life, my world, my inspiration. Thank you for all that you do for us. For your support, your understanding, your encouragement in everything that I do, and accept the facts of what makes Victor, Victor. But Bill, you do not honor me this evening. Without honoring the 2 most influential people in my life. My mom Angela and my father Victor. My mom was the ultimate cheerleader and faithful supporter. She was the constant fan and always encouraged me in whatever I decided in doing. Her smile was infectious. She was a gentle soul. Time after time when I would fill her in on my accomplishments in sports, the sports personalities I would encounter, and in my writing, she would always wear that happy face and say to me, "I'm proud of you, son." Mom was a constant giver, unselfish, one of my heroes. My dad, my ultimate best friend, my hero, my other biggest supporter. There wasn't a Little League game he didn't coach or keep score for, or a bowling league match he wasn't there to watch. In fact, a short, small, funny story, when I began to bowl in the adult league with Evans Mobile, Victor would come up to watch me and my teammates bowl. While the Yankees might have had Don Zimmer as their bench coach, Evans Mobile had theirs in Victor Sr. He had that coaching instinct in him even then. He just wanted to be there in support of his boy and root for the rest of his boys. Dean Evans, the late Phil Pera, one of our friends, Roger Milliard, and one of my great friends who's here tonight, Joe Carbone, and even they didn't seem to mind his presence. But the ultimate sacrifice both of them made for me was when their health started to falter. Trying to balance out a working schedule and take on game assignments or work extra hours a night at the rec department while trying to help them was near impossible. Dad was quick to chime in before it reached a debate and encouraged me never say no to anything that would help advance my career. He would always say to me, "Don't worry about us, we've got this covered," and allowed me to do what I've been doing. Well, tonight, with this award, and my mom and dad looking down upon us and in this room, Mom and Dad, because of you, tonight, we have got this covered. Thank you, good night, and again, appreciate it.
Thank you, Victor. Ricky covered it all. That was from the heart, so good job. Okay. Please come back to me. Our next honoree has made her mark both as a player and a coach. Paula Miller graduated from Branford. We may honor you twice next year, too. She graduated from Branford in 1992, where she was an honor student.
I can yell louder.
She graduated in 1992, where she was an honor student and a standout tennis player for Hall of Fame coach Bill Regan. During her 4 years, her tennis team had an outstanding record of 62-9. Paula was a member of the Hornet teams that won 4 consecutive Housatonic League titles, was part of the Class M championship team her freshman year, and 2 other clubs that made it to the semifinals of the states. An impressive 4 years for sure. Paula was second team All-Hoosie as a sophomore and first team as a junior and senior. She was selected All-Area by the New Haven Register her senior year as well. She shared the Team MVP award with Hall of Fame teammate Marjorie Lee Resendez as a junior and won the honor outright herself the following year. In addition to tennis, Paula's played 4 years of basketball at Branford under 2 Hall of Fame coaches, Dave Maloney and Ted Kaczynski. Her junior and senior years, where the Hornets won 29 games, and Paula was honorable mention All-Hoosie and won the Branford Elks Club Hustle Award. Following graduation, Paula enrolled at Quinnipiac on a tennis scholarship. She received the first scholarship from legendary Quinnipiac coach Mike Quinco. Success continued for her on the tennis courts, where she set a record for most wins in the history of Quinnipiac's program with 83. The club won 3 straight NEC Conference championships and were ranked 20th in the national Division II poll. Paula was team captain her senior year. She graduated from Quinnipiac in 1996 with a BS degree in health administration and went to work in the private sector in her chosen field, but became a part-time women's assistant coach at Quinnipiac later that year, remaining in that position until 2012. In January of 2012, she was elevated to associate head men's and women's coach In July 4, 2014, became director of tennis and head women's coach when Mike Quickhill retired. It's a position she still holds. As a coach at Quinnipiac, she was part of 5 NEC championships, as well as helping the Bobcats through several NCAA appearances at Stanford 3 times, University of Georgia twice, University of Miami, and North Carolina. Quinnipiac later joined the MAC conference, where Paul earned 2 additional NCAA appearances, and earlier this year was named MAC Coach of the Year. She has been active in several Quinnipiac alumni activities, including a nearly 20-year role as New Haven chapter president. For her success at both Branford and Quinnipiac, we are pleased to induct Paul Miller into the Branford Sports Hall of Fame.
I just want to thank the nominating committee for accepting me into the Hall of Fame, and I would like to thank everyone involved into getting this event done tonight. It's very much appreciated. I'm honored and privileged to be inducted with others who have been recognized for their contributions and achievements at Branford High School. My parents, coaches, teachers, teammates, mentors, and others deserve just as much, if not more, recognition in the nominating process. Basketball and softball were always the sports I loved. Basketball in high school, I made some of my closest friends, and also had a very unique experience as we had 3 different coaches in 4 years. I had the privilege to be coached by both Hall of Fame inductees Dave Maloney and Ted Kaczynski. I played basketball and softball until 8th grade when I wanted to try something new. My parents decided to sign me up for tennis lessons at Guilford Racket Club. My instructor was Hall of Fame inductee Bill Perviti. Billy was the Branford High School coach and saw my potential as a tennis player and asked me to try out for the team freshman year. The problem was softball and tennis were the same season. Learning from Billy made me love the game, so I decided that is what I wanted to play in high school. It's been one of the best decisions of my life. Billy's motivation and love for the game motivated me to work hard and earn a tennis scholarship at Quinnipiac. Thank you, Billy, who's here today. Quinnipiac is a place my parents always wanted me to attend since I was little. I thought it was too close to home, but fell in love with the school and first-year coach, Mike Quickhill. I started my journey as Mike Quickill's first recruit at Quinnipiac. He was a great coach and mentor. Almost immediately after graduating, I became assistant coach, elevated to associate head coach, and now director of tennis and women's head coach. Mike has taught me to become the player I was, and now coach I am today. He taught me when constructing my team to always look at your talent pool, then make sure you have the right chemistry of players. I use that advice today when recruiting. I am blessed and fortunate in so many ways. My family, the coaches and their influences over the years, the friends that I've been fortunate to know and learn from, all these factors came together and contributed to my philosophy of persisting to be as good as can be. First, I would like to thank my friends and family who attended tonight and embarrassed me. Thank you. Thank you all for coming to celebrate with me. My brother John Paul, 8 years younger, you were dragged to every high school and college sporting event I played in. My husband, for letting me do what I love, coach, with the many hours during the week, weekends, in the office, traveling for matches and recruiting. Thank you for all you do. I love you. Lastly, I would like to thank my parents. I would not be where I am today without them, pushing me to be the best I could be. They have saved and collected every article and picture of all my achievements since I was little all the way through college. I have treasured everything they collected and love to look back at them still today. They traveled to every home and away matches in both high school and college. They are my big supporters and fans. Still to this day, they travel to all my Quinnipiac matches and are parents to the players that live far away. I love you both, and I thank you for all you have done for me.
You guys can't come to the eel pond. Oh, yeah, you can come. Okay. Our next inductee started playing basketball. Our next inductee started playing basketball at an early age, being a member of the St. Mary's team here in Branford before attending Branford High School. Dave Bowman was a key player for the Hall of Fame coach Tom Murray at Branford. He earned 4 varsity letters and was captain his senior year. During his junior and senior years, the Hornets won 27 games, and Dave was known for his athleticism, strong basketball IQ, natural scoring ability, and an ability to match up with players much larger than him in stature. Coach Murray recently said, Dave Bowman was a precociously talented basketball player at Branford High School. His athleticism, basketball skills, and competitive nature set him apart from all of Branford's opponents. I learned more about coaching from Dave than he learned about basketball from me. Dave was chosen All-Housatonic and All-State his senior year when he averaged 16.6 points per game. He was also an excellent rebounder and played outstanding defense. He graduated from Branford in 1973 and enrolled at SCSC that fall. He lettered for 4 years and was captain of the Owls his senior year for Southern coach Ed Brown. Dave married his wife Patty, and they had 4 daughters, Shailene, Carrie, Nora, and Kelly, and joined with father-in-law and member of our Hall of Fame, Don King, as operations manager for DJ King Trucking Company for 25 years. He also joins brother-in-law DJ King, who was inducted last year. Dave Bowman devoted the majority of his life to raising, coaching, and mentoring his 4 daughters in the town of Guilford. He took his talents into coaching and was a volunteer assistant coach for the Guilford High girls basketball teams and their legendary coach Jim Rooney for a number of years, helping make the basketball program one of the most successful in the state, with numerous victories, SEC league titles, and state championships. Dave was a tireless volunteer of his time and energy to youth groups, programs in Guilford. It's been said his greatest joy in life was to pass his knowledge and love of the game of basketball, not only to his 4 daughters, but the entire community. Dave brought passion, heart, intensity, and knowledge to everything he did. He never boasted about anything of his personal achievements and used sports as a mechanism to instill values to both his family and other families he coached in Guilford. Sadly, Dave passed away well before his time in 2006 when he was only 51 years old. We are pleased to recognize him tonight with his induction into the Sports Hall of Fame. Here to accept his honor is his daughter, Nora.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. My sister Shailene, Kelly, Carrie, and I are honored to be accepting this award on behalf of our father, Dave Bowman. The only person I think would have a chance of topping my Uncle DJ's speech from last year
would probably be my dad. And for those of you who were not here, it was amazing. DJ wowed the crowd and delivered a very powerful message about the value of time, something that resonates with my sisters and I since we no longer have the gift of time with our dad. I will certainly try to emulate my uncle and my dad in delivering the speech as I have tried to emulate these two role models and others in my family my entire life. I think the best way for people in the room tonight to learn about the kind of man my father was is to hear how we remembered him when he was being considered for this honor. My sisters and I struggled a bit when we were trying to gather information to first support his nomination and then after his acceptance to put together his bio. They wanted a professional-looking photo of him in a suit. If the kind of suit they were looking for was a double XL nylon Nike tracksuit, then we could have sent them a picture of him in one in every color. They wanted stats and honors and accolades, and while I know that his were very impressive and that there were many of them, we realized that he really was bigger than all of that, and not just to the four of us, to so many people. I'm 100% certain that if my father were here to give this speech, he would not want to talk about the awards he had received and the many games he won. He would want to talk about his true passion, which is to coach and mentor young people. Our father was a tireless volunteer of his time and energy to youth sports programs in our hometown of Branford. His greatest joy in life was to pass on his knowledge and love of basketball to not only my three sisters and I, but also to an entire community. I can recall some feelings of jealousy and frustration when I was growing up, since it often felt like I had to share my dad with so many other children. But what I've learned more recently is that that was the greatest gift he could have given us. I am constantly reminded of what a great man and teacher my father was, as not many months passed between times where I found myself having a conversation with someone whose life he impacted through his coaching. I ran the Boston Marathon in April in memory of my dad and to raise money for the American Liver Foundation. The outpouring of support I received through both donations and also so many well wishes from family, his friends, my friends, athletes he coached, parents of athletes he coached, and beyond made it clear to me that he had not been forgotten and probably never would be. It was a combination of his basketball mind and his incredibly large heart that made my father stand out from other coaches, and I think is likely why many people remember him as a positive influence so many years later. My sisters and I, unfortunately, do not know much about my dad's records, awards, and statistics, but I think that really just reinforces why he deserves this honor as a member of the Branford Athletics Hall of Fame. What we do know is that he loved his teammates and the bonds he formed with them, and that he loved his coach, Tom Murray, and that he grew tremendously as a person and athlete under his direction. We also know that he loved to shoot, and if you pass the ball to him, you probably were not going to get it back. We were able to watch a recording of one of his games last Christmas, and Shailene, my sister back here, all of a sudden her style of play made a lot more sense to us. It's true. We know that he was not concerned with what he had accomplished himself in the past. He was absolutely focused with his entire mind, heart, and will on what he could help others accomplish in the present. I think that is what makes him special. It's why we miss him so much, but also why we feel lucky to have had him for as long as we did. He was our dad, our best friend, and our coach. And we are so proud of him tonight, as I know many people in the room are. He loved his family, and that included each and every one of the Kings and our extended family, and also his amazing family and friends, many of whom are in the room tonight, and a special few who are in the room tonight that have been the ultimate best friends to him and the ultimate stand-in dads for us. You've interrogated our boyfriends, danced with us at weddings, and kept us spirit alive. Thank you. He would be so happy to have us all here together and would certainly want it to be a celebration. Thank you again to the committee, to Coach Murray, and to everyone here tonight. And let's have one more meeting at Nickelburgers after the ceremony is over, because I know that's where he'll be, waiting with a smile, a big boisterous laugh, and beers for everyone. Thank you.
Wow, were those some accepted speeches? Now, each year the Branford Sports Hall of Fame honors championship teams from the past. This year's no exception. There's a wonderful article in the program book about the 1988 and 89 Branford High School field hockey teams. They certainly knew how to win. They were Hoosiatomic League champions in 87, 88, and 89. These girls had a 4-year record of 64 wins, 5 losses, and 5 ties. They outscored their opponents 264 to 34. They had 53 shutouts. Numerous players made All-League and All-State. More details are certainly included in the article in the program book. But the 1988 team was 17-0-1. The 89 team went 17-1-1. 1 loss in 2 years. In 1988, they beat Branford at UConn for the state title. And in 89, they played Branford again at UConn. They went to double overtime, where they were declared, along with Branford, as co-champions. Congratulations to the 1988 and 89 field hockey teams, state champions, and now let's meet them. We have Coach Kathy McGurk, Coach John McGurk, and Coach Dodie Cristola. Now let's meet the players. Erica Price Amarante. Captain Christine Terrell Austin. Captain Ginger Smith Barrow. Giovanni Fernandez. Susan Ferraro Shaw. Carrie Gallant. Captain Janine DiCaprio Giacino. Jennifer Lee Hazelgrove. Nancy Erickson Kendrick. Captain Kira Rin Lint. Aaron Luddy. Martin. Cynthia Missy Maglia. Captain Heidi Papusha. Captain Katie O'Heedy Papusha. And Courtney Mandela Squire. There you have them, ladies and gentlemen, the 1989 state champion field hockey.
One of the nice parts of this dinner in the last number of years has been to bring the teams together that have won championships and see how they've grown over the years, and very emotional to see them having a good time. Okay, we're going to get going with the rest of our inductions. Okay, I'll ask ask everybody to give me a little attention on this when we get going. Our next honoree was another two-sport star for the Branford Lady Hornets, Eva Esposito. Love these things. This is really great. She was an all-state player in both basketball and volleyball.
Of course you were.
1989 graduate of Branford, Eva played volleyball for Hall of Fame coach Tony Cardizano in the fall and basketball for Hall of Fame coach Dave Maloney in the winter. Eva didn't try volleyball until her sophomore year, but it certainly didn't take her long to learn how to play. Field hockey, take your seats, please. That's good. Thank you, ladies.
Like that was not evident by the leather and black. Although your hair is oh, and kudos to you.
In her volleyball career at Branford, she led the team in kills, blocks, highest passing percentage, highest hitting percentage, was team MVP as both a junior and senior, was All-Housatonic 2 years, was a Class M All-State in 1988, helping lead the Hornets to the finals of the state tournament. Really not bad for only playing for 2 years. Oh, and it was in 2003, Eva was inducted into the Connecticut Volleyball Hall of Fame. In basketball, Eva had 2 more outstanding seasons. A particular note was her senior year when she led the team in scoring, rebounding, steals, and free throws. She scored 561 points that year, averaging 23.2 points per game, which stood as a school record for 15 years. Guys,
Quiet down, I'm talking about my sister.
scoring highlights, good job. Scoring highlights included netting 38 points in the opening game her senior year versus Shelton, and averaging double figures in 29 consecutive games, including all 24 her senior year. Over 4 years, he scored 1,072 career points, ranking her 4th on the all-time list at Branford High School. She also had 150 rebounds and 78 steals her senior year. Honors for Eva include All-Hoosie as a junior and senior, New Haven Register All-Area, New Haven Tap-Off Club All-County, and Hartford Current Class L All-State. She was also chosen to play in the Connecticut High School Coaches Association All-Star Basketball Festival. And then I failed to mention, Eva was also on the track team and ran the hurdles and the high jump, and did the high jump. As good as she was in both sports, it was basketball that gave her a full scholarship to the University of Hartford, graduating in 1993 with a BA degree in communications. She later earned a master's degree from the School of Health at Southern Connecticut State University. For the past 18 years, Eva has been a physical education and health teacher at Eli Whitney Technical School in Hampton, and she was appointed athletic coordinator at Eli Whitney earlier this year. Since 2010, Eva has been the volleyball coach of her alma mater, Branford, where she played. Her Hornets won 3 SEC Roanoke Division titles in 11, 13, and 15. Prior to that, she coached East Haven, where she led the Yellow Jackets to the 2004 Class L State Championship. As I mentioned before, Eva was inducted into the Connecticut Volleyball Hall of Fame in 2003. She was also named New Haven Register Coach of the Year in 2004. Was inducted into the New Haven Tap-Off Club Hall of Fame in 2012. Tonight she adds to that list with reduction into the Branford Sports Hall of Fame. Eva Esposito.
We love you, Spurs!
the committee for selecting me to this prestigious honor. It's not very many of you understand what goes into being a person from Branford and coaching in East Haven, but to have my East Haven girls and my Branford girls here comparing stories really means a lot to me, and this is why you coach sports, because of girls like these.
We love you, Flo!
Thank you. Congratulations to all the other inductees. To stand here and accept this honor also with you is tremendous. To have my name hang from the ceiling of the Joe Trapasso Gymnasium, the first place I played basketball, and now for my daughter to be playing there and look up and see my name, is extremely special to me, especially tomorrow at 9 a.m. when we're having travel practice. My career is not like many other that have come from Branford. When I was young, people never said, boy, she's really good, when I was in 6th grade. Boy, she's going to be a real superstar. When I was playing at Walsh, I sat at the bench.
Quiet.
And I told myself this is not where I wanted to be. So I started my journey on becoming something I could be. My parents never took the approach of, well, it's the coach's fault, and you're really better than you are, you should be playing. That just never was the way that they thought. And that's not their way of thinking, that never was mine. I began investing my time in camps and played on the first ever and only AAU program at the time where they selected me, Connecticut Starters. I used my free time to do form shooting in the backyard instead of doing my math homework. Mom, Dad, I'm sorry for having you take me to Cousin Vincent's every Saturday, but you didn't have to pay for me to go to University of Hartford, so I get to I can remember shooting every night, and envisioning the type of player I wanted to be. Even in the winter, I had gloves that my dad cut the fingers off of so I could shoot outside instead of doing my homework. As my high school career started, I found myself playing varsity my freshman year, and by sophomore year, a starting guard. At times, it was uncomfortable playing in front of upperclassmen, but I continued to work and get better to solidify my goal of being the best that I could be. I developed into a player and shooter I always wanted to be. If that meant shooting before and after practice, I did that. If it meant watching college basketball games with my father instead of going out with my friends on the weekend, I did that. If it meant watching Beth Chandler, Bethany Collins, Krista Bloomquist, players from Overcross, I did that. I just kept thinking I have to work hard. In practice, when I was chased on offense by two players, there were thoughts of frustration. I remember arguing with my sister Nicole one practice and told her to get off me as she was pulling my jersey. And Sue Krasafi told me to knock it off. I realized after practice that going hard on me was in my best interest. My coaches Sue Krasafi and Dave Maloney always pushed us to be our best. Woo! On the volleyball side, I was only a sophomore when I decided to play volleyball. No offense, Mrs. McGurk. Field hockey just wasn't for me, so I decided to try volleyball. Miss C welcomed me with open arms, and I loved it. We weren't a tall team with great athletes, but we were determined. We were a determined team with a lot of heart. Every practice, we pushed each other to be their best, and we did it as a team. We all were invested. I can remember each game or practice talking about how we were going to the state championship. And practices weren't fun. They weren't cupcakes and flowers. They were hard, but we made them fun, and we always talked about how good we wanted to be. Our coaches were always on us, but we were okay with it because we knew that we wanted to get better. Our work ethic got us to the state final, and we were so proud of that. My experiences at Branford High School have helped me so much in instilling a work ethic in my players I have coached at East Haven and my players that I currently coach and have coached at Branford. My first players at East Haven worked really hard. They never let a minute of practice go by without calling out somebody in front of somebody else. When Sissy Gammerdeller went through the table against Branford, it wasn't because it was a rivalry game, it was because that's how she practiced every day. It wasn't just on game day. In 2004 at East Haven, I know my Branford girls, you're tired of hearing me talk about this. We were down 2-0 against East Lyme, and I told our team that this is the team that we're cleaning our locker room out, and they're going to be playing in the state final on Saturday. It was like a light went off. I remember Christina Serio, raise your hand, Christina Serio. It was like a flash bulb went out, and that was it. We won them 3 straight on to winning a state title. When at Branford, the volleyball job posted, I was on hiatus from having my daughter Ava. It was a no-brainer to come back here, and what a rewarding experience it has been. After some bumps in the road my first year, we got right on track and competed every single year and had some successful years. The girls believed and worked hard. When the road would get curvy, I would tell my girls, I am just like you. I went to this high school, I played in this gym, I worked hard, and it could be done. You just have to believe. I have tried to instill in them that it's okay to feel uncomfortable and to be exhausted and feel like you may just not get it, but if you can, and if you just believe and work hard, it will come. And I feel proud of the product that the girls put on the floor every single game day. But it's because they have done it, not me. They have believed in the philosophy of hard work. I am so proud to be standing here in front of my current and many former athletes, not only because they came here to support me, but because I know they believe like me. Most of them have had many successes on the court, in college, or in their careers, and when they text me good luck before we're playing Amity or Ram or East Haven, it makes me feel good to know they are thinking about their roots. It's the best feeling in the world to pass along something you believe in, and they pass it along. To be a part of something like that is very special to me. So lastly, I'd like to say thank you. To my family and friends in attendance, thank you for supporting me here tonight and during my seasons. I know some of you think that during volleyball, that's all I think about, but I'm a pretty good multitasker. But you are right, I do love coaching. My former teammates, thank you for pushing me and working together and getting me the ball. Jake and Sav, thank you for this opportunity to coach at Branford. It really has been my dream job, and thank you for supporting me as a coach. Mr. Maloney, thank you for giving me the shot as a freshman to play varsity. I believed in myself, but you believing in me gave me more confidence. Thank you for your support in my coaching career. Miss C, thank you for the opportunity as a sophomore to come and play for you. Even though basketball is my first love, I've always wished I had played volleyball in college. My current and former players, especially the ones in attendance. Thank you for coming here tonight. It really means so much to me. Thank you for allowing me to be me for you. I may not always be right. I may not be the best coach. I know competition gets the best of me, but I am passionate about the game, and I always want the best for you. And you girls have given me some of the best memories in my life.
We love you!
Super Soppy. Super Soppy. You have been more than just a coach, but a true friend. Anytime I need you, you have been there. Not just for fluff either, but for the truth, and I appreciate and respect that. Thank you for your never-ending support through the years, personally and professionally. To my sister Nikki, my competition in high school and my co-pilot during volleyball, you do a great job, and I appreciate you being by my side always. You're always a phone call away when I need you. I'm really lucky to have that. To my parents, thank you for supporting me in every situation throughout my life. Not very many parents go to bat for their kids like you do. Whether I am right or I am wrong, you tell the truth and you're honest with me. Thank you for your continued support in my coaching career. It is nice to be able to bounce things off of you. And lastly, my daughter Ava. Not very many parents get to coach their daughters, and I'm so fortunate to be able to do that. I'm lucky to have you to be at practices and games and watch and learn from the girls on my team. I know your favorite parts are sitting on the bus with Adrian and sitting with the girls during JV games. I know I'm hard on you at times, and sometimes you don't understand, but I really love coaching you and watching you succeed at basketball and at your USTA matches. It brings me greater joy on your success than of mine. Thank you to the committee again, and thank you, and have a great night. Thank you.
Good job, Eva. Attention, please. Attention, please. Thank you, Alex. Sports Hall of Fame teacher and sports writer, who the Branford Athletic Campus is named after at the high school, wrote in his weekly column, Hornet Sports Shorts, about our next inductee, quote, "The common ingredient in both successful seasons has been two-year All-State guard Dan Kudman. Without a doubt, one of the finest linemen ever to don a Hornet uniform." Jim was talking about the successful Branford football teams of 1981 and 82. The 81 team was 8-3. It was coached by Rich Kavanaugh, who later became head coach at Southern Connecticut State University. That club made it to the Class M state championship game, losing to Newtown 20-7. The 82 team finished 8-2. It was coached by Doug Morrell, who succeeded Coach Kavanaugh. Captains on that club were Dave Atkinson, Wayne Boynton, and tonight's honoree, Dan Kudman. The two Hornet clubs had a two-year composite record of 16-5. Kudge, as he was known then, was rated by Street and Smith magazine as one of the top 300 seniors in the country. Hall of Famer Jerry Crotty, the former Branford athletic director, was quoted in Jim McVeigh's article when he said, "When I played football, I wish I had someone like Dan to run behind. I've been here 27 years, and he's one of our best." Dan, who graduated in '83, was recruited by several dozen top schools, but limited in his 3 official visits to the University of Maine, Georgia Tech, and UConn. He decided on UConn and coached Tom Jackson, who was a former offensive lineman himself at Penn State under Joe Paterno. He was a starter on a club that won the old Yankee Conference title with an 8-3 record his junior year and finished with a 7-4 record his senior year. Coach Jackson said of him, "Dan was a smart player that could play any position on the offensive line. He had an infectious personality and was well liked by the coaching staff and his teammates." Dan graduated in 1988 with a degree in economics. He remained at Storrs as a graduate assistant, coaching the offensive line. As a young man, Dan got involved in youth football by being encouraged by his neighbor and Hall of Fame member Bob Massey, and then playing for Coach Jack Ligas, not only in football, but in baseball and basketball as well. During his early years, he started becoming an entrepreneur by having a paper route, working in the rec department as a buddy league umpire for Joe T. and Hop, working as a dishwasher at the renowned Silver Dollar restaurant for Ronnie T., holding a position at Head to Toe Sports Shop, and having a commercial cleaning service with his co-captains Dave Atkinson and Wayne Boynton. I'd like to hear more about that. His entrepreneurial spirit undoubtedly led to his success with several technology startup companies he was involved in after UConn. Those companies subsequently either went public or were sold to the gratification of the shareholders. He later founded and currently heads Motive Metrics, a marketing technology company based in Palo Alto, California. Tonight it is a pleasure to have Dan Kudman return to where it all started with his induction into the Branford Sports Hall of Fame.
In my career, I'm in technology, so just want to let you know I'm not actually texting anybody. I wrote some notes. See, I can't even get it to work. Where are those kids when you need them? So, Bill, thank you. I appreciate the kind words, and I'm happy you left out some of the arrests that I had over the years. It certainly seems like you know everything else. I also like to thank the committee. You guys do a really great job putting on a large event like this. You made it really easy to participate. And I want to thank especially Andrea Madola and also Jim Biondi, who wrote my biography there that you see in the whatever the catalog's called. I want to congratulate the other inductees. It's really impressive to be associated with such talent. And I'm honored and I'm quite humbled to be associated with you all. I want to thank my friends and family, many of which have come, like most of you, from far places. I recognize how busy everybody is, and I appreciate you spending the time to celebrate this great night with me. I had planned, actually, on the website, I was listed second, and so I had anticipated speaking second. And I had this great line that basically I wasn't going to say anything because the great skills and accomplishments of the people that were coming behind me would be of most interest to all of you. So with that said, you've heard all the great stuff, and I don't have much else to say. I do want to point out, though, that I love this town, and in particular, I love the sports part of this community. I grew up, as Bill said, with a lot of great influences around me. I remember as a kid growing up in Indian Neck, I didn't have, most kids have idols today. My own family, they're all professional athletes. I used to watch Ed Riolino play hoops. And in those days, Ed Riolino was my hero. I watched guys like Lee Wazinski play football. In fact, I'll share one funny story and then we're off to the eel pot. I want to thank, in particular, my teammates who are part of this story. Getting recognized as an individual when you play as part of a team, you realize that you're only one of many. And I've gotten a lot of accolades over the years as a result of the hard work and sacrifices that other people put in. I've benefited a great deal from those accolades. As it turns out, if the press write good things about you frequently enough, people begin to believe it. And I was fortunate to have that situation happen, which really took me to a path of going to college, which I probably wouldn't have done if it wasn't for that. So I owe a great deal of thanks to the guys that I played with. I'm sure after this they'll be hitting me up for the money that I saved for the scholarship. But the story I have for you that's funny is that I might never have been here if I wasn't fired. And I want to thank Coach Rich Kavanaugh, who couldn't be with us. As it turns out, I actually never played offensive line until halfway through my football career. I was actually a running back, and I used to love to get the ball and run. And in one of the games as a sophomore, I can't remember the details, but they never gave me the ball. I was always the guy that blocked for everybody else. And this one time they gave me the football. It even surprised the other team because there was nobody there to tackle. And as I went through the line and I looked, there was only one guy between me and the goal line. And there was probably 30 yards, and it was wide open. And I proceeded to run at that guy and run through him, which was a lesson that I had learned from early days from Coach Lagas. Except he was teaching me not to run with the football. At the time, I didn't have the football when he taught me that. This time I had the football and I ran through the other guy. And I got caught up and I got tackled. But it was a pretty good run. And I had ran for like 20 or 30 yards. I didn't quite get in the end zone. And when I came off the field, I actually was expecting Cav to congratulate me on such a great run. And I was kind of a young guy. I didn't know any better. And he was bright red. I mean, he was as red. He always wore this red, Branford Hornet, red and white. And he was so red, and he had stuff coming out of his mouth, and he was drooling and foaming. And I was taken back a little bit. It didn't look like he was too excited and happy. And he got in my face, and unintentionally, he was, as some of the old players know, he was spitting literally while he was talking. He was so fired up. And he told me that I was fired. He didn't say that. I took it that way. What he said was, if you want to run over people, we're going to make you an offensive lineman. And that Monday, he threw a shirt at me with the number 64, and which is a lineman number. And he set out to teach me a lesson. And I guess looking back on it now, I have a great deal of gratitude for that lesson. There were several lessons in that story. The least of which is, learning from your mistakes. And I realized years later that he was really set out to kind of teach me a lesson in the short term. I didn't realize that at the time. I just thought I was an offensive lineman, so I started playing offensive line. And as a result of that, I've got the opportunity to speak to all of you tonight and all of you this evening. I really appreciate the honor again, and I look forward to meeting more of you at the Yield Talk. Thank you.
Well, Dave, Rich may not be here in person, but Dave, I did talk to Coach Cav through email, and he's believe it or not, he's assisting a high school team in Rhode Island, and they're in the playoffs, and that's where he is tonight. But he did write me a little note. Dan, congratulations on your induction into the Sports Hall of Fame. It's an honor well deserved. When I look back at all the great players I had at Branford High School, you're at the top of the list. You're an outstanding person and a football player who was well-liked and respected by all. It's no surprise to me that you went on to have a successful college and professional career. To sum it up, you were the whole package. It was my pleasure to have been your coach. Rich Cav. You could feel the excitement in swim coach John O'Connor's voice when he was telling a few of us a while ago what our next inductee did in his junior year at Branford High in the Class M swim meet championship. In what has been described as an in-the-zone performance, David Brennan exhibited his finest performance as a Branford swimmer in this title swim meet. The Hornets were competing against the heavily favored Florida Lions, who were coached, by the way, by another Hall of Famer, Rich Thompson, who coached here at Branford after, along with other Class M schools. Dave's performance was remarkable and a personal best. He finished first in the school record time in his specialty, the 100 butterfly, and first in the 200 freestyle. Branford was 6 points behind Bourne going into the final event, the 4x100 freestyle relay that Dave swam in. The Hornets won the event by 2/100ths of a second over Thorne to tie the meet and become the event's first, and I understand only, co-champions in CIAC swimming history. In winning the Class M 1983 Class M title, their first state title, by the way, of 6, Coach O'Connor said it was one for the ages. Dave was named Most Outstanding Performer in the championship meet, as well as All-Housatonic and All-State that year. The following year, he captained both swimming and soccer for the Hornets, winning All-Hoosie and All-State honors in both sports. He began his interest in outdoor activities in 1991, when he worked for Echo Ridge Trips as a river guide, sweep diver, and manager. In 1995, he got involved in snowboarding and became the head coach and program director at Mount Snow Academy. Then in 2005, he became a snowboarding coach at Stratton Mountain School, a full-time prep school in Vermont, with a focus on winter sports. Dave has been running snowboard dryland training for 10 years and named USSA Snowboard Club of the Year 3 times. Stratton Mountain School has been in operation for 40 years, and the last year had 12 alumni compete in the Sochi Winter Olympic Games. I don't know if Jim Bell knew that. David Brennan has coached Olympic, U.S. Open, and X Game champion Kelly Clark to national pipe, border cross, and overall Grand Prix titles, and has a passion for teaching and training on and off snow. For his achievements in sports in his hometown and snow sports coaching success, We are proud to induct David Redden into the Branford Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you. I want to start by just getting it out there that it's an incredible honor to be here among this group of people, because this is a group of people that I idolized growing up. This is a group of people that supports sports in the world and in the community they live in fully, to the hilt. If you're here, you either played or you're with players or coaches, and you've been doing it a long time, and I'm so grateful for that, and humbled and honored to be a part of that community. Thanks for coming. Thanks to the committee for inducting us all. It's an incredible group of athletes, and once again, I'm totally honored to be a part of that group. Following Kuji is pretty fitting, because in high school, he was about the most respected athlete in the state from what I knew. It was awesome to be a part of that. And to see a bunch of guys here in grades in front of me and behind me still supporting the cause here in Branford Sports, it's awesome to see, and I really appreciate it. I read recently that if you only had one prayer in your whole life, thank you would be it. It would be the best one. So I thought I'd go with that today. I'm just going to stick with a bunch of thanks. I start with my mom and dad. My mom and dad, they love sports, they love the outdoors, and they did everything they could to let us share in that with them. My dad went to work so we could do the things we loved, and my mom never missed a meet, never missed a practice. And if we tried to miss a meet or a practice, she'd come find us. She was unbelievable. Now being a parent, I can't imagine how she did it with 6 of us. After that comes my sisters. I'm a pretty good swimmer. I have 4 sisters, and I count myself as tied for 3rd in my family in swimming. My sisters are incredible athletes, ranked in New England tennis for years and years, state champions and all-state swimmers forever, captains in Branford, played in college, continue to play this day and support the cause everywhere. It's great. Totally inspired by them. Next would have to come Doc Agley, Jim Agley. Doc taught me how to swim, and I'll be forever grateful. Before I became a competitive snowboard coach, I was teaching on and off, so I taught a whole bunch of beginners how to ride a snowboard. And almost every time I do, I think of Doc Agley teaching me how to swim. The connection we get from the people that share these things with us when we're young, and we get to share that with others the rest of our lives, it's fantastic, and I really appreciate it. So thank you, Doc. After that, the next big move in the swimming culture for me makes me think of Charlie Andriel. Charlie Andriel used to lead these cheers. He's a big stud, big mouth, huge mouth, as a matter of fact. But he could really use it. He could get really loud, and he would get the whole pool rocking, and everybody chanting behind him. And as a little kid, watching a big guy like that lead a group like that, I pretty much fell in love with competitive swimming, I think, back then. Then soon after that, there were my sisters waiting for me at the 15-yard line when I was 5 years old, doing my first races. And then moving into the Stingrays, where I started to meet Paluzzi's. Tony was on those first couple years of teams with me. The Giardellos, the Haydens, the Conroys. Growing up with the Jacobs and Conroys as close neighbors, and being in the tail end of the age group in that, it was a great group of kids, all bigger than me, to try to keep up with and play sports with and watch play sports for the rest of our lives. It's been awesome. Onward from there, as we got into, say, more competitive swimming, the culture here in town with families like the Lexas, the Loftuses, again, the Andriels, the Reeds, the Haydens. I really appreciate growing up with these guys and swimming with these families and watching multiple siblings in each family continue to get in the pool every day, do one of the most boring and difficult
sports to train, and then get out and support each other like crazy and yell those cheers for the meets. It was great. But swimming wasn't the only sport in our world. Tennis was really big. Soccer was a great joy to me. And there's a couple coaches I really want to mention that I really appreciate. Frank McDonald, he taught me how to look at a ball. I tried to play Buddy League baseball early on. They said look at a ball, and I didn't really know what it meant. And I don't know how Frank did it, but he got me to look at a ball, and all of a sudden I could see the stripes on the ball and smack the hell out of it. It was great. When you connect, when you really first connect, it's the best feeling, and I appreciate Frank for that. Rusty. It was Rusty. Rusty ran sprints with us. I think he was coaching me in community house soccer for years, and then he was assistant coach with Coach Rowan. And for a guy to get on the line like that and run with us, I've taken that with me. I've been coaching for 23 years. I love to run sprints with my guys, and I think of Rusty every time I do it. Also, Coach Rowan, he held it together. Soccer was at last, especially after swimming. You could run around, you could talk to your teammates the whole time, and work with people. I loved it. Loved it. On the soccer team, I played for years and years with David Riley and Marty Glick. I really appreciate those guys. And we always looked up to players like Danny McSherry, Ian Hobbs, Tony Proto. Those guys were legends in my mind. And the older athletes in Branford, just like Danny said, you know, I think when kids are growing up playing a lot, they're not watching sports, they're not watching TV. They're watching the big guys play around them, and that's really what motivates you and gets you moving. It's what got me moving. That's who I really cared to be like and wanted to be like. So playing soccer, trying to chase those guys and want to be like them, that was a blast, and I totally appreciate it. And then on to swimming. Some of my idols in swimming that I really have to mention. In particular, one who I'm pretty sure got me standing here today. He was the team leader when I was a sophomore, and he's an upstanding citizen around town. He went early decision to Yale University. David Andriel, he's like the funniest guy in the locker room and the best swimmer on the team by far. And since I was a little guy, all I wanted to do was swim like Dave. He made it beautiful and fast, and it's unbelievable. And I wish he could be here tonight. But Dave, too, is still heavily into the world of competitive sports, and his MIT water polo team, which he coaches, is hosting a tournament this weekend, and he couldn't be here, but I know he would have loved to be here. I wouldn't be here without him. Just like Dave, Mark Loftus is a titan in the world of Branford swimming. I don't think we'll see a faster, better one. Mark continues to swim hard, and I still don't want to race him. The whole Loftus family, that's a big part of our family. And Charlie Donahue. Charlie was just 1 year ahead of me, so he was 1 year after Dave, and he was the captain the year before. Charlie was the captain of this team that we won with in the first state championship. Charlie and Rich Enders in that state meet had a duel going on. Those guys traded off events, and I think each of them broke. They easily would have broken the Whoosy record, but I think they each broke the state record, Charlie and Rich Enders, and touching each other out in 2 events. And in our final relay, and so they stayed out of my way. I didn't have to swim against those guys that night. I really helped out my finishes. And in the final relay, I get to lead off because I had this crazy start where I would reach down really low, and I was fast into the water. And Charlie would finish the relay because he was the fastest leg for sure. And I still remember to this day with Mike Hollahan and Fuzzy Florio, the 3 of us just jumping up and down, gripping on that block, watching as Charlie and Rich came in, and Charlie made up about a half a body length and touched Rich out, and we knew that got us tied for the championship. It was awesome. So I wish Charlie could be here too, but he's living in Nevada. After that, John O'Connor, very big deal. He's the rock, he's the centerpiece of Branford swimming in all the age groups for years and years. OC knew how to put us in the right positions to succeed. We used to think he was putting us in different events because we didn't like that event, and he wanted us to get better at other stuff. But, he put you in an event because he knew what the other teams had and where we could score the most points and how we would win. a coach that can put you in a position to succeed is a coach you want to emulate and a coach you want to appreciate. And his even keel throughout, other than the night of our big win, was an incredible role model for us. And we really needed it because a bunch of guys staring at the bottom of the pool who can only breathe every fourth stroke can get a little rowdy between sets and between meets and in the bus. And OC was just a steady rock, and obviously I wouldn't be here without him, and Branford Swimming wouldn't be where it is without him. So I would absolutely dedicate this to John O'Connor tonight. Lastly, I just want to thank my wife and my daughters. My daughters don't know it yet, but they allow me to coach, and for me to share this passion that we all have for sports with kids. As a coach, it means I have to travel, it means I have long hours at times, and Ariel takes care of the house and takes great care of the kids, and she reminds me a lot of my mom, and I think she's setting our girls up to be great swimmers too, and they've started doing that, and thanks very much. Everybody have a great night. I'll see you at the Real Talk meeting.
Our next inductee tonight has been involved in the sport of ice hockey since he was 6 years old. He's played travel hockey as a goalie for various youth programs in Greater New Haven and then through 4 years of college. Larry Vieira attended Jonathan Law High School, but they didn't offer hockey, so he played mostly for the Milford Blues during those years. He did play football and lettered in soccer and baseball for the Lawmen before graduating in 1977. But hockey was, and still is, his first love. After law, Larry tried out as a walk-on at the University of New Haven. More beer. They had a Division II program. He played for the Chargers for 4 years, earning a scholarship his junior and senior years. After a short stay with the Erie Golden Blades of the East Coast Hockey League, in 1983, Larry was appointed head coach at Branford at the ripe old age of 23. Over the next 26 years, he accumulated a record of 295 wins, 214-9. Won 3 SEC Division II tournaments and had 21 state playoff appearances, getting to 14 quarterfinals, 4 semifinals, and winning the 1988 CIAC Division II state championship. Defeating Chaparral Valley 5-3 in the title game. In addition, from 87 to 88, the Hornets won an amazing 43 consecutive Division II games. Larry undoubtedly is very proud of those milestones, as well as the 10 times the CIAC recognized his Hornet team for sportsmanship, for not receiving any major penalties for the entire year. In 2000, he was selected Gatorade Coach of the Year. Since 2009, Larry has brought his coaching skills to Darien High School, Manhattanville College as a goalie coach and chief recruiter, and is now at Immaculate High School in Danbury, where the Mustangs won the 2014 Southwest Conference Championship. I'm not sure how he does it, but in addition to coaching at Immaculate, he also coaches Bantam A and Midget A teams during the season, as well as serving as the Southern Star Goalie Development Director, which he has done for the last 7 years. He's a USA Hockey Level 5 certified coach. 31 years coaching high school hockey, Larry compiled a record of 358 wins, 264 and 13, with 26 state playoff appearances. He's received a BS degree from UNH in law enforcement in 82, a Master's of History from Southern in 86, a special education certification from Southern in 88. An educator for the past 26 years, Larry currently teaches an AP Psychology and Sociology class at West Haven High School. When asked what his biggest accomplishments have been over the years, he said, "By far, it is that I have the honor to help young adults become men for most of my life, both in the classroom and on the ice." Tonight it is our pleasure to recognize Coach Larry Vieira with his induction.
Thank you, Bill, for a wonderful introduction. I'm just not sure that with all the stuff you just read, I'm the right guy. I really don't, I don't believe it. I still can't believe, as you folks hear these folks in the left corner, that you guys actually had $50 to come tonight. I really am. But seriously, throughout the years, I've sat in everybody's seat out here, and I've seen many coaches and friends be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and each and every one told me how emotional and humbling this experience would be. And you know what? They're right. I've been a little bit of a nervous guy today at school. I didn't feel like teaching. Sorry, guys. So I showed movies all day. I just couldn't do it. They were good too. They were PG, I promise. While I was looking over old newspaper articles, my mom used to compile every article ever, and we have a history of every box score for the last 30 years with Branford. It brought back a firestorm of memories. Some are as clear as the light of day, some are not so clear. But one memory that you guys can remember is this. Blooming down, boys! All right? Every day, because these guys like to break curfew, I'd have to kind of reinvigorate them and get them in shape again. So hopefully this brought back some good memories, guys. Throughout the years, I've come to realize that I am truly blessed to have traveled this journey with some pretty special people. From the administrators, most notably Ed Higgins, who was a big supporter of mine, and of course the athletic directors, Jerry Karate, who hired me, to Jake Paluzzi and Sav Sinodi. And Sav, is he here still? Sav, sorry. I used to call Sav every Sunday morning after Saturday night hockey games. I always had some events to report to him. And Sav, I'm sorry we can't do it anymore, but if you'd like, I can call you on Sundays around 9 and make up a far-fetched story that you'll thoroughly investigate. But I miss you, Sav. Also, I've worked with a ton of great coaches, many here tonight. Gary Lindgren from Andy, John McDonough from Branford, I'm sure he'll be with Andy this year. Dan Mahoney, Kevin Erickson, and you'll hear his name a lot. John Monica, Eddie Gioli, and currently at my present coaching position at Immaculate High School, Greg Halsco and Tom Fabiani. Also want to thank the colleagues from West Haven that have sat here for the last 2-3 hours. I appreciate it, guys. All right, I love you. And usually the Westies, they usually tell me when I get a little heated during school, some of the Westies like to challenge us and test us. They always tell me this is a school for education, not a hockey rink. So thank you for that. Most importantly is all the hockey players that I've had the honor to coach. And that's why we all do this, is to help kids and help them become adults. And a lot of them are here. And again, I want to thank Paul Angelini, Eddie Angioli, Paul Calli, Steve Childs, Dan Marsh, Mark Meglio, Don Lilly, Meglio again, Matt Vesey, Matt Rio, Rick Ross, and Scott Denhart. If somebody snuck in and I missed you, I'm sorry. Try to cover everything. Throughout my coaching, my life and my coaching career, the simple foundation was established early on with my parents, and that was hard work. How could it be any different for me? My grandfather, Florindo, along with his wife and my grandmother Connie, came from Portugal with 2 cents in his pocket. To meet ends meet, he sold a little wine during the Prohibition time. He worked at the Bridgeport Steel Company, and he owned 15 houses in Bridgeport, all through hard work. My father, Domingos, or Mickey, was a Marine veteran of the Korean War. He helped build I-95, believe it or not. He did a little bookmaking on the side. I felt like I was seeing the Bronxdale living in Bridgeport, but it is what it is. I learned a lot of stuff from him. He ended up owning a painting company in Tucson, Arizona, where he had 20 guys working full-time, all through his hard work. And of course, my mom, Jeanette, she came from into the United States from the backwoods of Canada. Jeanette, thank you. Look at her. That's great, thank you. And she worked 3 jobs to provide everything for me. So obviously, hard work was part of my DNA. The final piece of the puzzle that galvanized my work ethic was my experience playing at the University of New Haven. The players that I had the I was fortunate enough to play with were better, skilled, more talented than I. And in order for me to hang with those guys, I had to work harder than them. Some are here tonight: Scott Brazis, Dan Letourneau, Gary Lindgren, and Ricky Rose. Of course, the most important piece at UNH was the head coach, Steve Lane. I want to thank you, Steve, for allowing me to play at UNH for 4 years. You motivated me from minute to minute, day to day. And I worked as hard as I humanly could for you, just to prove I belonged at UNH. And I've used that tool as a coach and as an educator for the last 30 years. It's all because of you guys. When my playing days were over, I was fortunate that Kevin Erickson's mom, who just passed away, Jean, told me to apply for the opening. Jerry Karate hired me, not because I was a superstar, I was a young guy. He said, I'm hiring you because you don't wear earrings. Jerry Karate was an old school AD. The 2 guys that interviewed before me wore earrings. I told him, I agree with you, Jerry. Earrings are for girls, not guys. He hired me on the spot. During the course of my 26 years at Branford, we've encouraged kids to work hard and off the ice. And our main goal was to take those lessons and take them into the real world. I'm thrilled that each and every one of you here tonight is a success. And if you're not, you've told me you have been. It's amazing. I never heard so many stories, folks, tonight that I've heard tonight. No stories, Angelina. Thank you, bro. In closing, I'll never forget the 1988 state championship game. I'll never forget the battles in the House of Pain versus the Easties. The 3 wins that we got were wonderful. I try to forget about the 28 losses. All right? The 5 a.m. practices at West Haven. Imagine that. Imagine doing that nowadays. Kids were in the car getting to West Haven over the Q Bridge at 5 in the morning on the ice. And if they were a minute late, we did sprints. All right? Imagine doing that nowadays. How many lawsuits there would be? Unbelievable. I'll never forget the spirited discussions with the officials and a priest that's very close to me, Father Gowan. It's a long story. I appreciate the fan support. 2 of them are here, Eddie Angeli Sr. and Bob Lindley, who was supposed to be here, but we miss him. I also remember bailing players out of jail. That was a wonderful experience. When I get that call at 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, hey coach, Hey, coach, can you help me out? They got to have some cash on me. And the most important thing, as I remember, is during the lean years at Branford, and there was not too many of them, but we almost lost the hockey team. I remember one year we had 12 players on the team, and I remember a kid came off, we had practice at 5 in the morning again at East Haven, and he came up to me and he goes, "Coach, I want to play hockey." I said, "Okay." I'll make up a name. I don't want to give his name, but his name was Bob at the time. So he goes, "I played hockey." "Excellent." I said, "We could use you. You're our 13th guy." I said, "Where did you play last year?" "Well, I just got out of Cheshire Reformatory, coach. I did 2 years." I said, "Good." We signed him up. He was on the first line the next day. But the most important part of that is we kept Branford hockey alive, and we kept it a varsity sport. I want to give special thanks to Gary Lindgren. He's helped me every ounce of the way. He's like a brother to me. And again, I've known Gary for a long time. I want to thank George DeMayo, who was like a father to me. It's great that you're here. George just got up at 4 in the morning, and he's going to be in the radio. Sorry we kept you so long. It's great to see my friends Jimmy Masella, Matt DeMayo, Mike Iovini. And I hope I'm not missing people, but I'm doing the best I can. And finally, as we all know, behind a good man is a good woman, sorry. Listen to their stories. It's going to be a long walk home, I guess. Jesus. There's many women here tonight, and many good women: Laura Lindgren, Renee Childs, Megan Wanaka, Melissa Monaco, Diane Frost, Taylor Erickson, who happened to be on our bus. Kevin's heard the story, but I basically made Kevin's life. They met on the bus. She was a statistician, thank you, and they fell in love on our bus going to a Shane game. So thank you, Kevin. You owe me. No, thank you. Thank you. And I just want to acknowledge Adeline Brennan and Allie Vesey. Again, hope I didn't miss anybody. But the best woman in my life is Pam. And for the last 15 years, Pam has listened to late night conversations about forechecks and breakouts for a sport she says I take too seriously. And through the highs and lows, you have been, stop it, you have been the rock behind me. I love you, and I couldn't do this without you. And by the way, we start hockey again December 5th. Once again, I want to thank everybody that was here and supported me. I'll cherish this night. And again, I hope I didn't forget anybody. Did I mention my assistant coaches? I hope I did. If not, I'm sorry. But again, this means a lot to me, and it's nice to come back to my roots. Thank you very much.
Good job, Larry. Thank you. One last one. Here we go. Our final honoree has been involved in sports most of his life, and most of that was in Branford, where he coached and gave advice to many youngsters. Ray Falcoff moved to Branford early on. Good boy. Hockey guys. Hockey guys. Calm down a little. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Ray Falcoff moved to Branford early on and started his involvement in sports as a little leaguer. He attended Branford High School and graduated in 1966. While at Branford, he played football for Hall of Fame coach Don Cody and golf for Hall of Fame coach Stan Patello. Ray attended AIC, American International College, majoring in business administration. Active on campus, he served as president of TEAC, Tau Kappa Epsilon fraternity, and then as the inter-fraternity council at AIC. After graduating, he served as a public accountant before becoming CFO and co-refining in 1992 and later as CFO for the Atlas Companies in 2006. Since 1971, Ray was a supporter and major contributor to sports here in Branford, as well as in area towns. He was an assistant for Hall of Fame basketball coach Tom Murray at the high school. Then as the JV coach at East Haven, assisting Ed Kasafi, before returning to his alma mater, Branford, to assist coaches Jake Paluzzi and Rusty Gordon, two other Hall of Fame members and basketball coaches. During his time at Branford, the Hornets won their last Housatonic League championship before the SEC was formed. Other coaching stints over the years included assisting coach Peter Evans as a volunteer assistant at the former Lee High School in New Haven, coaching the lead players in the highly competitive Gulf Street Summer League, and chairing the former talent-laden and highly regarded Bixwell Q House basketball tournament in the inner city of New Haven. Just in case he had some spare time, he helped his college alma mater AIC as a scout and talent evaluator, and served as golf chairman of the Greens and Long Range Planning Chairman for the Pine Orchard Yacht and Country Club during the 70s. Ray later coached a Branford travel team, winning a number of tournaments in Branford, East Haven, and Wallingford, and earning a record of 42-3 in his first 2 years. Baseball was a major part of Ray's life. He was an assistant coach in the Branford Little League Majors Division, and was also an assistant from the John Ardito Little League All-Star team. He had roles with the Branford Baseball Cooperstown and the Branford State Youth Baseball team, and was an organizer in Clinton with the Hounds Youth Baseball team. In 2012, Ray was an assistant at Hampton Hall that won the Fairchester League title. For his contributions to the youth and high school athletes in basketball and baseball throughout the region, we're pleased to recognize Ray Falcoff with his induction into the Branford Sports Hall of Fame.
Well, I guess I'm the Jay Leno of the entertainment show tonight, coming up last. I want to thank the Hall of Fame for honoring me in this way. It's an incredible memory for me to be even associated with so many of the players and coaches and personalities of Branford sport. If you look in the back of your program and look at those names, it's legendary. To even think that I could be mentioned with them is such an incredible honor. I want to congratulate the other inductees. I got to see Dave Bowman play a lot of basketball. I witnessed Coach Vieira's championships. The Paluzzis, they said 2,000 games. I know it probably was double that. I don't think I've ever been in a Branford game that the Paluzzis were not at. And it's just been an incredible experience. Branford sports has been a big part of my life and a love of my life for as long as I can remember. One thing you know that if you're a coach is that sometimes you wonder how you got to a certain spot. When I got elected, I started to think how this could have possibly happen, and then I realized they must have made a special exception this year to let the referees vote. Most of you guys would get that. I also have another claim to fame in that I sat down with Michael Alt and convinced him that he should give up baseball and play basketball. So that tells you a little bit about my judgment. But in all honesty, if you're a coach and you're being honored, you know that you're not here unless you were blessed by God with incredible players, families, and mentors. No coach has ever hit a jump shot at the buzzer. No coach has ever hit a walk-off home run. Their players have. And it's an incredible ability to be able to motivate and get young athletes to do that. When you coach, if you set the bar high, your players will attain that goal. If you treat them with respect and love and caring, they will respect and treat you that way. Your players accept what you accept. if they think they don't have to dive for a loose ball, they won't. But I think most of my players would know that they had to dive for loose balls. I attended a coaching clinic out in Indiana with a bunch of our players. A couple of them were here, Scotty Bennett and Greg Robinson. And Bobby Knight said something that really touched me. He said, coaching is 95% teaching and 5% strategy. And I think that's important to remember, that a coach is a teacher. I just want to take you quickly through the journey that got me here tonight. Success can be determined by the people that you happen to bump into. And along my way, I think if you listen to some of the people's names, if you associate yourself with knowledgeable people a little bit, it's going to rub off. And I think I had a lot of people that did that. My basketball love took off when I was at American International College. I pledged a fraternity that was a basketball fraternity, started to go to the practices, and then an incredible gentleman named Hilton White, who was a legendary coach from New York City. If you've ever seen the movie Glory Road, Clem Haskins says to Hilton White, I need you to go down to New York and get me a couple of players. He does, and Texas Western wins their national championship. So Hilton got me involved in basketball, and from there, again, I took an apartment with a nice quiet apartment with a couple of Hall of Famers, Teddy Kaczynski and John Sobolewski after college, and living next door happened to be Peter Evans, the lead basketball coach. We got to talking, and Peter asked me if I wanted to coach, and I was a little apprehensive. I knew I wanted to start, and he invited me to coach his city team in the Gulf Street Leagues. I showed up at the project behind the Navy Police Station. It was a little bit awkward. I got out of the car and I just said, what am I going to do? And I decided to fall back on what I knew best, which was hard work and respect. And we worked really hard as a team, and we grew to be friends that have lasted even to tonight. And it was an incredible level of competition to be involved with the Lee High School program. We went to places, the kids played so hard. I mean, you just could not imagine how hard they played. And they were just great kids. And the level of competition, to go down to Mount Vernon and see the McCrae's play, to see the cross league games. And we also had a couple of the Hartford Public police escorts that we had to get out of Hartford Public. But it was incredible. Peter showed me that if you care for your players, they will care for you. Peter's intensity translated into his players' intensity. His pressure defense was unbelievable. It became a hallmark of all my teams. Peter would press you when you got out of the bus. He was amazing. My opportunity with Peter in the summer league team led to an invitation by Tom Murray to coach at Branford High School. And that was a little bit intimidating because Tom was the man. He was Tom Murray, the legendary basketball coach. I said yes, and I came aboard, and I was exposed to absolute genius. Now, Tom's preparation and the ability to teach and the drills just made me a much better coach. And I saw a side of Tom that a lot of people don't get to see. If you can imagine, you're playing in the middle of an intense basketball game, and Tom will say to me, he'll look over and say, the guy in the left-hand corner of the stands. And what are you going to do? He goes, who do you blame? And every single game that I was at Branford, in the middle of a game, we would be looking for someone in the stands, and I'd say, there he is, and it would be, who do you blame? And it was just a funny side of Tom that I got to know. After coaching with Tom, I think Eva talked about it, I crossed over to the dark side, so I thought I coached at East Haven with Eddie Cassava. Going from being a Hornet to Yellow Jacket, it was an amazing feeling. But when I got over there, I was exposed to a great group of kids that worked really, really hard, and I had a chance to work with a coach that, again, helped make me who I was and teach me. Eddie was a master at the 1-2-2 zone. He was an incredible coach. He taught me to coach to the level of the players you had. And we used to run the four corners, drive teams crazy. We had no size, but we had the heart of lions. I have Ricky Narachi's here tonight. He's a player from that team, and now he's the coach at East Haven High School. Just tremendous, great work ethic. After leaving East Haven High School, I had an opportunity to come back and finish my basketball career at Branford, and I got to coach with Jake. And it was kind of funny because I was actually the guy that took Jake over to meet Art Leary at Southern, so we go way back. And what made Jake Paluzzi one of the best basketball players in Branford history also makes him one of the best basketball coaches. He's got great work ethic, he's fundamentally strong, and it's not me, it's these great guys that I had a chance to learn from and to just absorb it. And also got to work with Rusty Gordon and Joey Chandler. I mean, those are just incredible guys. And they taught me, and we had a great success in Branford. I was treated as an equal, and we won the 1992 Housatonic League Championship. Some of my players are here tonight, Joel Daniels and Clint Pasquarella, and that was an incredible season. I took a little bit of time off and then coached travel basketball, which was great. I got to meet young kids again. I kind of had to learn to dial it down to coach at the young kid level, but we had a great success there. Thanks to my son Patrick, who decided that he was no longer interested in basketball, he moved on to baseball, and I moved into coaching baseball, which was, again, the people around me supported me and gave me the support so I could do a good job. John Ardito gave me a chance to coach the Little League All-Star team, and then John Lidovich and George Dumar started the Branford Sting program, and they gave me an opportunity. I'll just give you a quick example. I can remember coaching one day, and I'm doing the second base shortstop drills, and I have no clue what I'm doing, okay? I'm a basketball coach coaching baseball. Big George is there, and he sees me struggling, and comes over, and as only George could do, kind of takes the drill over and goes, well, Coach Falcoff, I think you want him to do this and that. Just made me feel perfectly comfortable, winked at me, walked away, and now I knew how to do that drill. And from that point on, whenever I did that drill, I did it well. But again, it was George Dumar, it was Peter Edmonds, it was Tom Murray, it was Jake Paluzzi, it was never me. And I got to coach at Morgan High School with John Lidovich, another incredible coach, and then moved on in my last coaching stint to coach with Joe Fontana at Hamden Hall. Believe me, Joe, if you want a program and a coach for your son to play for, Joe Fontana is the guy. I just would like to ask one special favor tonight. I want to thank, first of all, my wife, Christy. This is a lady who, when we first got married, would sit on the couch and say to me, "It's just a game." And I would be like irate. And then fast forward down about 7 or 8 years, and I'm coaching up in Seymour with Jake, and I look over there and I see there's a commotion in the crowd and a policeman going over there, and I say to Jake, "What's going on?" He goes, "You don't want to know." So my wife became an absolute basketball fan, and she was a tremendous support. She's the love of my life, and I would not be here without her. And Patrick, my son, for putting up with me when I coached him and showing me how to overcome injury and adversity. And my daughter Katie for giving me that balance that guys need in their life. I would like tonight, everyone who I coached with and played for me, could you please stand up for 1 second? There is absolutely no way that I'm up here without you guys. You know the relationship we had. You know how much I love you. I see David Crudup and Al Crudup from Lee, and I just want to thank you guys for helping getting me here. Finally, in closing, there's a little saying that we have in our family that we get caught on years ago. It's on our desks. It's on my wife's desk. It says, 100 years from now, it will not matter what my bank account was, the sort of house I lived in, or the kind of car I drove, but the world may be different if I was important in the life of a child. Tonight, you let me know I was, and I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.